Now let's discuss about the very first phase of the apoptosis, and in that we have got two parts. Either it can occur through the intensive pathway or through the extensive pathway. So we are going to discuss about the intensive pathway first. So in the phase first, the first pathway that we are going to discuss is the intensive pathway. Intensive pathway is also called mitochondrial pathway. Why it is called so, I will tell you in the upcoming part of this video. So it is also called mitochondrial pathway, and it is responsible for apoptosis in most physiological and pathological situations. So if somebody asks you which pathway is more common, whether the intensive pathway or the extensive pathway, you have to mark your answer as an intensive pathway because it is the responsible for apoptosis in most physiological and pathological situation. We have discussed most of the physiological and the pathological situation in the previous video, so kindly check out for that. Now let's study about the what is the cause of this stimulation of intensive pathway. So it is basically due to the increased permeability of the mitochondrial outer membrane. You have to keep in mind it's the mitochondrial outer membrane. As a mitochondria is a double membrane structure, it has got an inner membrane and an outer membrane. So basically the factors which are causing the intensive pathway to occur is basically present in the intermembranous space. So the space between the two membranes is called the intermembranous space, and the factors are present inside this space. So it is basically due to the decrease in the permeability of the outer membrane that the factors leak out through these channels. So let's discuss about it. So the fact that you have to remember that increased permeability causes release of the pro-apoptotic molecule. So in the very beginning I told you apoptosis is regulated by basically three types of genes which produce three types of proteins. One is called the pro-apoptotic, the factors promoting apoptosis. Second is called the anti-apoptosis, and third is called the sensors which detect whether the cell will undergo anti-apoptotic or stimulate the anti-apoptotic factors or the pro-apoptotic factors. So basically it is due to the increased permeability of the mitochondrial outer membrane. Suppose this is a cross section of the mitochondrial membrane, and here we have the inner matrix. This is the intermembranous space, and this is the outer membrane. This is the outer membrane, this is the internal membranous space, and this is the inner membrane. So factors which are responsible for the intensive pathway to occur are present in the intermembranous space. So they are guarded by some channels that are called the anti-apoptotic channels. These are basically, there are two types. Among them the most important one is BCL2. So here is the BCL2 which is guarding the outer membranous structure and which is responsible for holding the mitochondrial proteins, and among the mitochondrial proteins the most important being the cytochrome C. So you have to keep in mind cytochrome C and the other mitochondrial proteins are responsible for the intrinsic pathway to occur. So BCL2 helps in the maintaining the outer membrane permeability. In the absence of the BCL2, or if there is some production or the lack of the survival signals, the BCL2 becomes inactive and it take over the function of the BCL2 is now abolished, and we have another set of genes that get activated which are called the BAC and BAX. So BAX and BAX makes the outer membrane permeable to the cytochrome C and the other mitochondrial membrane. So this cytochrome C and the other mitochondrial membrane can now leak out through this channel and enter the cytoplasm. So basically the decrease in the permeability of the outer membrane causes the release of the cytochrome C and other mitochondrial proteins, which causes the initiation of the intensive pathway. So cytochrome C, when released into the cytoplasm, initiate the suicide program of apoptosis. Not only cytochrome C, we have other mitochondrial proteins as well, like SMAC and Diablo. I will tell you in the later part of this video. So basically in this diagram you can see the red color BCL2 gene or the anti-apoptotic genes stimulated by the growth factor. In the absence of growth factor of the survival signal, the anti-apoptotic genes like BAC and BAX get activated, and which finally get incorporated into the mitochondrial outer membrane through which the cytochrome C leaks out. Okay, so let's see how this intensive pathway is brought about. So if there is a lack of some survival signals, DNA damage or accumulations of misfolded proteins, DNA damage and the lack of survival signals are basically responsible for the activation of the sensors. So genes for the controlling the apoptosis were divided into three categories: anti-apoptotic, pro-apoptotic, and sensors. Sensors decide whether to activate the which type of gene. Sensors can either activate the pro-apoptotic genes or the anti-apoptotic genes. So it's up to the sensor to decide. But if there is some lack of survival signals, the sensor get activated and they further activate the pro-apoptotic genes. So pro-apoptotic genes are basically the back and backs which form oligomers. So back and backs form oligomer and which gets inserted into the mitochondrial membrane. So suppose genes like back and backs get activated, so transcription will occur and translation will occur, which will lead to the formation of some back and backs oligomers, which will insert into the mitochondrial membrane, which will make the mitochondrial membrane permeable to the cytochrome C and the other mitochondrial protein. So these will form oligomer and they insert into the mitochondrial membrane. So when they will insert into mitochondrial membrane, the mitochondrial proteins and the cytochrome C is one of the mitochondrial protein which will leak into the cytoplasm. So when they will leak into cytoplasm, they will activate a cascade of caspases which will lead to the further activation of the execution caspases, and the execution caspase will do the function of the apoptosis of the cell. So basically जब सर्वाइवल सिग्नल्स या DNA डैमेज या मिसफोल्डेड प्रोटीन्स का accumulation होने लगता है तो सेंसर्स एक्टिवेट हो जाते हैं. So sensors now decided we have to activate the pro-apoptotic genes, which are basically the back and backs and which form oligomer. So basically these also deactivate or inhibit the BCL2, which is basically the anti-apoptotic protein, anti-apoptotic factors. So beside increasing the permeability to mitochondrial membrane, they also inhibit the function of the BCL2. So mitochondrial proteins will leak out into the cytoplasm and it will activate the execution caspases. So when the cytochrome C, this blue color structure signifies the cytochrome C, when leak out, it binds with APAF. APAF stands for apoptosis activating factor 1. Okay, you have to write down in the notes the full form: apoptosis activating factor 1. So when the star, which is signifying the APAF1, it binds to the cytochrome C, it forms an apoptosome. So this is very important question which will ask by the examiner. What do you understand by apoptosome? So basically when the cytochrome C gets attached to the apoptosis activating factor 1, it is forming an apoptosome which will lead to the breakage of some part of the procaspases. As you all know, in the very beginning I told you caspases are present in some inactivated form which are called the procaspases. So this is the procaspases. So deletion of some amino acid will lead to the activation of the procaspases into caspases, and which will activate other caspases, which will finally lead to the activation of executional caspase. Now the execution caspase will lead to the apoptosis of the cell. So let's revise once. Lack of survival signal, DNA damage, or accumulation of misfolded proteins will activate the sensors. Sensors will in turn activate the pro-apoptotic genes, which are basically the back and backs. Back and backs protein will form oligomer and they will perform two functions. First function they will perform is to inhibit the action of the BCL2, which is basically an anti-apoptosis factor. And second function it will do is to increase the permeability of the mitochondrial membrane. And which part of the mitochondrial membrane? It's basically the outer mitochondrial membrane. And this will cause the mitochondrial protein to leak out in the cytoplasm. So mitochondrial proteins may be cytochrome C, or there are some other mitochondrial proteins as well, which are called the SMAC and the diablo. The function performed by cytochrome C is basically depicted in this whole point, that is the formation of the apoptosome by binding to the apoptosis activating factor 1, which will lead to the breakdown of the some amino acids of the procaspases, which will lead to the formation of caspases, which will activate other caspase, and it will finally lead to the activation of the execution caspase, which are basically the killers of the cell. So basically what do the other mitochondrial proteins do? They inhibit the inhibitors of apoptosis. So IAPs are basically stand for the inhibitors of apoptosis, which are inhibited by the SMAC and the diablo, which are the other mitochondrial proteins present in the mitochondria except the cytochrome C. So this was about the intrinsic pathway and the points that you must remember.